Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Above the Bar podcast, where each week we belly up to the bar with a new guest, find out what they do, who they are, and what makes them great. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the Above the Bar podcast. It's your host, Sean. We're bellying up to the bar here on August 20th. I believe it's already August 20th. It's almost Laborish Day, just about that time. So as all the kids are going back to school, and I know that some of them may need this, why not have somebody on who can talk to us about, getting our shit together, because we all need someone to help us do that. And joining us all the way here from the long lost lands of the capital region of New York, we're going to be talking about when is the good time to actually go get an own personal coach. So joining us for this is I know it's president, but I really like the term principal. I think maybe you should change it to principal. It's a way better term. It makes you sound so much more important than, especially if you're going to be coaching. So you're getting it. But either way, we'll talk about all those things. So joining us here from the capital region, I'm going to try not to butcher his last name, even though he just told me how to do it the right way. It's Mr. Steve Diloia.
Close enough.
Right? Close, good enough for government work.
That's right.
Here. I don't know if the applause goes through to anybody else but me, but I can always hear the applause.
Okay.
So, how are you, Steve?
I'm doing well, Sean. Thank you. How are you?
Stupendous as always. How bad did I butcher your last name?
Not bad at all. It's Diloia.
Diloia. The L silent.
Actually, that's a capital I because of the fonts and everything. That's a capital I. Yeah. So it's 5 vowels in a row, and it throws everybody off.
Oh my God! It's 5 vowels in a row. Like you would be horrible with Wheel of Fortune. Can I buy a vowel?
That's right. Buy a vowel. Just be my whole name.
Son of a bitch. I don't know what this says. I keep buying vowels. Well, we're going to be talking about when is the right time to get a coach. Steve is an expert in this fact. Well over 20 years, almost 30 in the field. How many years?
So it's been a little over 30 in kind of the manufacturing business world space. From a leadership perspective, I mean, it's been longer. You can go probably all the way back to high school. I had a lot of leadership positions from high school in college, so it's just been a continuous journey.
A little bit of everything. So we're gonna be talking about that here in a minute. But before we get into all that, let's go ahead and take care of the bills around here. As always, over my right shoulder is the big board for Sticker and a Cause. If you've got something you believe in, something you're supporting, something you want other people to know about, you can reach out to us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok. Our website is theabovethebarpodcast.com, and our email is theabovethebarpodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you got going on. We'll tell you where to send your sticker to, and we'll read about you live here on the air. And I don't care what it is, folks. You got a band. Maybe you got your own coaching program. You want people to know about it. As long as you got a sticker, we'll throw that sticker up on the board, and we'll let everybody else know about it. That's Sticker and a Cause. Also, we got to talk about the folks that pay the bills around here. That's Budget Blinds of East Greenbush, Hudson and Cooksaki, and Schoharie, North America's largest custom window treatment company and the capital region's largest custom window treatment company, handling everything from blinds, shades, shutters, tint, drapery, you name it. If it goes on a window, they can definitely help you take care of it. And here for the month of August, I forgot what month we were in for a second. And here in the month of August, they are offering 20% off off your products on your order. If you let them know you're there to belly up to the bar, they're going to give you another 5% off of that order. So make sure you're reaching out to Budget Blinds of East Greenbush and Budget Blinds of Hudson and Cooksaki and Budget Blinds of Schoharie. They're there to take good care of you and make sure you get the right window treatments. All right, all that's done. Bills are paid. We got that taken care of. So how are you, Steven? Do you prefer Steven or Steve?
Either's fine. Whatever you're comfortable with. It really doesn't matter.
So let's get into this. So you own Axiom Coaching. And look, folks, if you're interested in finding out what Steve's got going on, you can always check out axiomcoaching.com. But so you own Axiom Coaching. How long have you actually been in the coaching space?
It's going on about 14 years.
Wow. So what got you actually into that itself?
So Axiom Coaching does consulting and coaching. And so I was with another consulting firm before I went out on my own, and meeting some of the other consultants and kind of being in that space, I started learning about coaching. One of my dear friends from college that I've known for a long time, his sister is a marvelous coach, excellent coach. And so in me, talking with her and talking with other coaches, and my desire to help leaders and my interest in leadership, it just kind of all came together and was like, okay, I want to get certified. I want to be trained. I want to be able to help leaders on a deeper level.
Now, I want to pause you on the getting certified piece. I feel like I've had a lot of different coaches on here, and everybody's like, "Well, I'm certified in this system. I'm certified in that system," and there seems to be a lot of different systems out there in the coaching process. I listen to Brendan Bouchard almost daily. I really like the stuff that Brendan Bouchard has. How did you determine, like, hey, this is the coaching system that I'm going to get certified in and that I'm going to use for folks?
Sure. It's so it's called the Gestalt coaching methodology. There are Gestalt of Cleveland. There's one, another training center on, they used to be on the Cape. They're around the Boston, Mass area. But what appealed to me to the Gestalt was that it's a holistic, very much a holistic approach. And when we talk about holistic, we take everything into account during the coaching encounter. So we're not just listening to the person, we're observing the physical and the body cues and their physical, how they're holding themselves physically and how they're coming across emotionally, either in the tone of their voice or just the energy that's coming off of them. We can all tell when someone's either angry, upset, whatever. So you're reading that kind of energy. You're also kind of reading the space in which you may be coaching. So obviously, it's going to be different if it's a virtual coach or if it's in a physical place or if you're outside in nature. That lends to a different atmosphere for the coaching. And then ultimately, you're also reading your own body language and what's going on with yourself. And that helps provide potentially feedback to the client that you're coaching. So it's just this holistic approach, being very present in the moment, being very present with the client. And I just really enjoyed that kind of methodology and thought process for the coaching.
So now, and Orchid's been on the show. Thank you for that. She says that's incredible. I'm curious though. Did you look at other methods, or was kind of like, this is the one? This is it.
I did some investigation of other training programs, and it was, again, reading through it and talking to other coaches as well. So I did talk to different coaches from different backgrounds or different training philosophies or methodologies. And again, the Gestalt coaching just kept coming back and resonating with me as, again, this very present, very mindful type of approach that, like I said, resonated with me and I thought was very useful. And as I started to learn it and then, of course, practice it, I just found it to be the best methodology for me personally. Again, other methodologies are just as good. It's not that one's better than the other. I think it's just what's suited for the coach themselves.
Gotcha. And I guess that also affects the type of clients that you're going to take coaching. Also, they have to thrive in that type of environment. Also,
yeah, and it really is more a coach, like the relationship. And I tell when I am in a coaching engagement, and all coaches should do this, is the first thing you tell your client is, look, the moment you don't feel this relationship is right or we're not connecting, I'll help you find another coach. And it's vice versa. If I don't feel that I'm connecting with you, I'm going to say, look, I don't feel the connection here. Let me find you another coach. So any good coach should do that because the client comes first.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's a big thing, in business in general. I do the same thing in my own business. If a client's like, well, we're not going to go with you, cost is more than what we want to spend. Hey, that's fine. I get it. I know who I am. But if you're going to go with somebody else, if you have questions, pick up the phone and call me. I'll tell you if they're saying happy and you heard me say glad, I'll tell you it means the exact same thing. I'd rather you do that than you miss out on an opportunity. And it's just being a good person at that point.
Yes.
It's called being. Guess what, folks? It's called being an adult. It's an amazing thing. It's super cool that way.
Yes, and it's taking responsibility because, especially when you're coaching someone, consulting and everything, you can try and make the relationship work or something. But when it's coming to coaching, you're getting close to being a counselor. There's a very fine line between coaching and counseling. So you're really looking to help this person because typically when someone's coming to a coach, they're stuck in life. There's a barrier that they cannot get over the hurdle themselves. And so you really want to help them move on, to grow and get past this hurdle. And so if you can't do it, you want to find somebody that is going to help them move forward. So it's always the responsibility of the coach to make sure this is a right relationship. I can help this person and the person is comfortable with the relationship. If not, let me find them another coach that I know that can.
Now coaching is interesting to me because I guess I kind of feel like in the last, 10 years, it is really kind of rocketed. You go into any kind of a BNI group or a networking group or something like that. There's at least somebody who's like, well, I'm a personal coach. I'm a business coach. It's kind of like the insurance agent for a while there. You know exactly what I'm talking about, didn't you, Steve? Like I do personal injury insurance. Well, I do auto. Like it's kind of become that way. What sets a coach apart from what used to be around was you would go see you had a personal counselor, like you went to the local YMCA and somebody had rented a room there and saw clients. Like how is the coach different from these guys who were counselors?
So coaching is, again, helping someone, and again, they're kind of, like I said, there's a fine line where you cross over. So coaching, again, is helping someone basically raise their self-awareness, and
Okay.
that is key to leadership. If you don't have self-awareness, you're pretty much starting off at ground zero. A leader has to have self-awareness at all times. If they cannot have self-awareness, they cannot lead. Self-awareness leads to being able to deal with people socially. Then that leads you to being aware of a bigger social gathering and understanding the nuances of that, which then allows you to lead. So everything kind of, the
Ties
foundation
in.
of leadership is self-awareness. And we all lose self-awareness. We all have our blind spots at times in life. So the coach is helping raise that self-awareness. And we're not there to give, it's different than consulting or a mentor. A mentor or a consultant gives you the answers. We, as a coach, are helping you explore to come up with your own answers. We want you to raise your own self-awareness. We just guide you through the process with the right questions, the right environment, and allowing you to explore. There's sometimes also what we call experiments, but they're just basically exercises that we can come up with and say, hey, what if we tried this now? And again, just to raise that self-awareness. What's the difference is when it starts to come over into the blockage is due to a mental condition and mental health.
More
And
of a
so
mental health. Okay.
if it's like a severe depression or PTSD or something of that nature, that's when the coach has to back off and say, you know what, we're going into an area that you need counseling and therapy, and that's beyond what a coach can do. So
Gotcha.
So if that awareness comes up, that's the moment that the coach has to stop and say, you know what, I think there's some deeper, I can still help you with the self-awareness, but I think there's some deeper issues here that you may need some counseling, some therapy to help you get through some bigger issues that we may be talking about.
See, that makes sense for me, because I was always thinking about that. Like, it seemed like for a while there, if you went back 20 years, everybody, I'm a counselor. And it was like, so you just didn't want to go get the degree in psychiatry or psychology. So you were just like,
Yeah.
I got the certificate. But that makes a lot of sense. Like when it crosses that medical line,
Yes.
as opposed to just getting better at your personal life line. That makes
Correct.
sense.
Yes.
So I ask all my entrepreneurs this, and this is one of my favorite entrepreneurial questions, because I remember when I had to do it. So you've owned Axiom for how long now? Axiom itself.
2014.
So it was 4 years before that you were doing other coaching, and then in 2014 you said, "Hey, I'm going to go out on my own."
So I was with another consulting firm, and then actually there was a little bit of a crossover because they were not. The consulting firm I was with was not allowing me to have enough coaching clients. They already had people on staff. So I said, I'm going to start my own coaching firm type of business. And they said, as long as there's no crossover into what we did. So it was more personal coaching, life coaching, as opposed
Gotcha.
to business coaching. And then in 2017, when I went out on my own, it's like, okay, now I can cross over back into leadership coaching and executive coaching.
So when you did that final full push in 2017, that like, I'm out on my own fully 100%, what was that conversation with your significant other, if there was one at the time, and telling them like, hey, this regular steady check that's been coming in, that shit's going away, but look what I'm going to do. I know how that conversation went at my house, which I love my wife to death, and I can never say anything more than when I was like, hey, I'm going to start my own business. What's it going to be? We're going to put in window treatments. Tell me more about this. And I explained it to her, and I could say it in a level head. And she was like, all right, I got your back. Let's make it happen. I'll hold down the fort while you're in training and doing what you got to do. So I always say my wife, for me, was amazing. But I'm always curious how some of those conversations go for others when they're like, yeah, that steady check, we're done with that thing.
So my wife is very supportive. She's used to me doing crazy things. I, I helped a church planter, Southern Baptist church planter, plant a church and then help lead that church. And then
Nice.
5 years later, I went off and said, I want to plant my own church, a non-denominational church, Christian church. And of course, she was like, I don't think so. And I'm like, okay, we'll pray about it. And then like 6 months later, she just out of the blue was like, yeah, I think God's leading you to start your own
That's
church. So
awesome.
yeah, I did that for 12 years. She was also, at one point, I had a chance there was an opportunity to be the executive director on the ground floor for starting a Bird of Prey nature center. And that was like a significant pay cut, like half the salary. And again, she's like, when I put my hat in the ring for it, and she's like, "You're really going to do this?" I said, "They'll never pick me." I said, "Look, they've got people from zoos applying. They'll never pick me." I said, "I'm just doing it because it's a lifetime dream."
Yeah.
I can say I tried. Well, when they offered me the job, I was like, "Yeah, okay." It's more than just to throw my hat in the ring. Again, very supportive. And then so when this happened, she was very supportive of it. Part of the benefit of it, though, was the paycheck didn't really stop, because when I left the consulting firm and said I'm going to go out on my own, they're like, well, you're taking some skill sets away from our firm. Do you mind if you keep some of your clients and work as sort of a partner for us? And I said,
Okay.
sure. So that kind of made the transition very easy for me. So I still
Little easier.
had clients and paychecks coming in that not as much, but it helped lay the foundation so I could build off of that and grow. So kind of made the transition easier on me.
Oh, and then here's Leland. Look, folks, if you're just joining us right now, we've got Steve. And listen, you're going to look at Steve's name and you're going to say, well, that's Diloia. It is not. It is D. Dioy,
Dioia. Dioia.
Dioia, and it's all vowels after the D. So pretty interesting. If you've got questions, maybe you have a coaching question or you're thinking about getting into coaching, any of the above, drop your questions in the comments there. Also, if you're looking to, maybe you need a coach, you can check out Axiom, AXIOM, coaching.org. You can see what Steven's got going on there. So let's kind of get it. Oh, well, let me tell you about Leland real quick, because I hope Leland's still on. I've told you I'll tell you about Leland. I didn't know if he was going to pop on or not. Folks, Leland's been on. He's known as the Willful Warrior. You can find him online at that. He's been a guest. So Leland has been a quadriplegic. I know paraplegic at least once. I think quadriplegic twice though. And both times, yeah, he's still there. So, so the first time he was in the chair force, and what happened was he was out on a boat. They were doing, typical, young teen 20 stuff on a tube. Comes quad and para. Yep, comes off the tube, rolls across the water. He's a quadriplegic. Gets into the hospital. Has an amazing physical therapist who helps him. Teaches him breathing exercises and breathing processes. After they told him he'd never walk again, he walks again. Then turns around, has some bouts with drugs and alcohol, cleans his act up. He's driving a Uber, and somebody hits his car, and the paramedics show up, and they're like, "Oh my God!" He's like, "I can't move my legs," and they're like, "Oh my God, you're Didn't want to tell him he was paralyzed from the waist down. The paramedics all freaked out, and he's like, "Yeah, I've dealt with this once before. I was a quadriplegic." And the paramedic's like, "What? Like, what?" He's like, yeah. Just go ahead and get me in the ambulance, and I'll start my breathing exercises. And he's like doing breathing work inside of it in the ambulance and recovered completely. And we were just talking. Now he's in Arizona right now, milking frogs for DMT. It's the wildest thing. I love the guy. I absolutely love.
That's
I
an
love
awesome
Leland.
story.
But I tell that story because I'm curious. Like he's kind of he's a coach, and he does coaching in a way. And he helps a lot of service members dealing with PTSD and different things and different stresses in life. And he does an amazing job teaching them breath work. But for you and the type of work you do, when is it time, or are some of the signs for somebody to go, maybe I need a coach? Like I know for Leland, hey, I'm in a bad spot and I don't want to take drugs to get out of it. This is something that helps me get out of it. And I, even from a short conversation him and I have had, I do more breathing exercises. But when is it a time that I should be picking up the phone and saying, "Hey, Steven, I need this in my life"? How do I determine that?
So it's a great question. I tell leaders that, and this is from a book, and I'm sorry if I'm not doing the author justice because I've forgotten the author of the book. But they speak of the relationships that leaders need, and they say everyone needs a boss to hold you accountable. We all know leaders that have not been held accountable, and I mean we've seen it, corporate corruption and everything. It's very they say there's a very fine line between power and jail. So if you're not held accountable, you can cross that line very easily. So a boss, a mentor or a trainer or someone to teach you, because again, if a leader is not learning, they're dying. So you always have to be learning. A counselor when you need it, because we're all going to go through some life trial that we just need a counselor to help us through, because we are dealing with something that is more severe than a coach can handle, and it's more mental. A good friend, someone that can encourage you and is there for you, and a mentor, which is different than a trainer or teacher. A mentor guides you more. A teacher is just teaching you the foundations, and then a coach. And the time you need a coach is when, again, you feel either stuck, you feel like a leader, you feel stuck, you feel maybe that you're alone, you're dealing with something within your organization, or maybe you're feeling you're not growing. It's just a moment of being stuck and you don't know what to do because, again, you're asking all these questions, but you can't raise your own self-awareness. You just find yourself stuck in either a same situation, kind of repeat pattern, or a repeat behavior that you know is not helping you in your leadership role. Could be causing bad morale, could be causing bad behaviors within your team, could be causing bad behaviors in yourself. So when you feel that moment where it's like, I'm stuck and I'm kind of alone, I can't talk to my friend about this, I can't talk to anybody else about this, I really need someone to help me raise that awareness as to what am I doing wrong, or why am I in this repeat pattern, or why is this behavior kind of reoccurring, or why isn't I'm not moving forward as a leader, which means my organization or my business is not moving forward. So it's always kind of when you hit that obstacle, I would say, is when you should call a coach. You can go online and there's plenty of studies that have been done that, people are like, coaching, yeah, it's not for me. I'm a good leader. Those top 500 companies, those executives have coaches on speed dial. And it's not that they're using them all the time, but it's, again, when they hit the wall, they're like, speed dial, I need a coach. Look, I've hit this wall. I need you to kind of coach me through this so I can get over it and continue to grow and continue to move forward. So, again, like I said, there's plenty of studies out there that show top leaders have these relationships. They have a coach, they have a mentor, they're always learning.
And see, and I'm going to give you a personal kind of question in a minute, but Leland says, even us coaches have coaches, always have a coach. They see what you can't and typically see your potential even when you don't. And he said about the things you were saying that they're also true. So let me ask this question. So I know me personally, I've often said, like, you know what, I want to get a coach. And I've had two things that stop me from it. One, I have a tendency to be a cheap bastard. I'm gonna be honest. I have a tendency to be cheap. I have a tendency. Like, can I get a Walmart coach? Like, is there a Walmart version of a coach? So hey, listen, I don't need your cost, but I need to understand cost versus price, and in that sense of the long term there. Um, and the other thing in all this with coaching is, how do you help somebody? And this is what I run into is, I know I'm growing my own business and I see all the stuff that I need to do. And then I think to myself, man, I'd love to sit and talk to a coach, but I don't have an hour to give you to talk to you and then spend, after I've just worked till 7, spend another 2 hours because you want me to journal about, what some other stuff. Like, I don't have time for that. That's 3 hours of productive time that in my mind is unproductive. So two questions. One is, how should people, understand that price versus cost? That's the first question. And then how do you set that time?
So the price versus cost, again, like any business person, what's your return on the investment? So is it worth it to be stuck and struggling on your own and have your business potentially either start to decline, or the growth that you want, or whatever you're looking to do with your business not happen, or happen at a slower pace? It's no different than, like I said, bringing on a mentor or even just talking to a friend. It's, or, for some of I do a lot of manufacturers. They buy a new piece of equipment and it's like, well, we kind of don't have the money, but we need that new piece of equipment or we're not going to grow. So it's sort of the same thing. You're putting an investment in which the return on that investment will be down the road as your business grows. And again, you get over the hurdle that is slowing you down or stopping you from your growth as a leader and your organization. So that's number one, is the return on investment. The time commitment, again, is what's the return on investment for the time? Now, yeah, it's an hour. I'll tell you right now, I don't think I've ever asked anyone to journal. So you don't have to worry about that for
Okay.
me. So unless, again, the client is like, well, I think I want to journal.
You're winning.
So I really have not had anyone that I've coached. I have never said, hey, start a journal. It's more of, we're going to implement something, a new action or a new behavior in your life. And then we're going to talk about how did it go. So if we meet every week or every 2 weeks, how did it go over the 2 weeks? How'd that new behavior, how were you successful? And I was successful and it worked, or I really didn't get into the habit. Well, let's talk about why you didn't get into that habit. So it's more, again, with me and typically with most coaches, is let's change your behavior. So what are we going to do over the next, like I said, let's say if we meet every 2 weeks, what are we going to do over the next 2 weeks that's going to help move you forward and change your behavior? And like I said, I'm right there with journaling. I've tried it. I do it every now and then, but by the time I'm at bedtime, it's like, oh, I should have journaled today. No, I'm going to bed. I'm tired. So
Exactly.
I'm not going to force people to do something that they don't want to do. And that's part of the coaching agreement also. It's a relationship. It's a give and take. So the coach shouldn't be saying, you're going to journal. It's going to be, a coach should always ask permission. So again, I would ask somebody, hey, can we try an experiment? And if they say no, okay, we're not going to do that. I had a coaching session where somebody was very upset. Very strong. It surprised me because she's a very strong leader, very strong female, and very independent. And we were having a coaching session, and she was going through a lot of life transitions and issues. And she just sat there and was like, just on the verge of tears. And I just asked her, I said, so what's going on right now? Why are you on the verge of tears? And she said, because no one's here in my life. No one's supporting me. And so I said, do you want me to just sit here and be with you for the next 10 minutes? And she said, yes. And we sat in silence for 10 minutes.
Wow.
And I just sat there and I just said, I'm just going to be here. When you want to talk, you start talking again. And after that, she said, I haven't had that in months where someone just said, I'm going to be here and let me be quiet and let me just be in my own space. She said, too many people are demanding things from me, my family, all this stuff. She said, it's the first time I felt supported. So it's always, you try the experiment and you ask people what they want. If people want to journal, that's great. Then you can say, okay, journal over the next week. But you always, as a coach, should ask them permission to arrange and come up with something where there's a mutual agreement that you can come up with. Again, if a coach is telling you what you should do, that's not coaching, that's mentoring.
That makes perfect sense to me. And look, folks, for those of you that are out there that are just joining us, Steve is I'm going to call you principal because I like principal. I told you I like that term
Perfect.
better.
That's fine.
I like it better than president. I like principal. Like when the people ask me, like, what's your company title? I'm like, principal. It sounds way cooler.
I just say I'm either the owner or whatever, because
Yeah.
president is the legal part. When you fill out
Yeah.
all the papers, like, who's the president of the company? Fine, I'm the president. So
Yeah, I do. I know. I'm the owner.
You can call me
I
principal, owner. I don't care.
like principal better. But he's the owner, principal, and president of Axiom Coaching. If you want to know what he's got going on, check out axiomcoaching.org, and it's AXIOM. If you have questions, comments, maybe you have experience with a coach and you left that coach and you want to know, like, hey, I still feel like this is something I need. How do I get back into it? Or, hey, how do I make that determination of who should be my coach? And it kind of, for me, runs into this. I know, like, if for somebody like Leland, if I wanted that spiritual side, I would reach out to him like, hey man, I need to get this going on. Is it okay to have multiple coaches? Which obviously it is okay, but like, how do you approach multiple coaches? And do you make sure they know each other? Like, is it a conversation like, hey, I'm building my team. I've got, Steven's going to be taking care of me from a business standpoint. Leland's going to be taking care of me from a homeopathic physical standpoint. Like, do you work them together, or is it more like, nope, there's a line of delineation?
I think it's up to it's always up to the client how they want to handle it. But I think the better way to do it is to be forthcoming and say, I just want you to coach me. Don't worry about my personal life. I have another coach for my personal life. Just coach me on my business. Okay. And there is going to be, I mean, let's face it, there's going to be crossover, right? You can't separate completely your personal and your business life, no matter what position or what you're doing, whether you own your own business or whether you're working for somebody else. Your personal life is going to intrude into your business life. It's just going to happen. You have an argument with your significant other in the morning, you're going to go to work mad. So it's just going to happen. So I think it's the best practice would be to say, look, I have these other coaches for these other areas. And so that coach can say, if I'm just doing the business side of things, I can say, well, look, we're kind of treading now in this discussion's heading towards the personal side. Do you want to stop now? Or do you want to discuss what your other coach is doing so I can get an idea? And what direction do you want to go? It is always the client. If number one rule for coaching is if the coach is talking 90% of the time, they are not coaching. They're working way too hard. Coaching, once you understand coaching, I don't want to make it seem like it's easy. There is a lot going on when, especially like I said, the Gestalt, you're just bombarded trying to read everything that's going on in the room, the energy, like I said before, the energy, the way the person's holding themselves, even noticing like tics or habits. One instance, every time something kind of little sensitive came up, I had a female that would twirl her hair. And so finally I just asked, what's with the twirling of the hair? And she's like, I didn't even realize I was doing that. And so it's picking up those tells, just like poker. So a lot's going on. The only easy part of coaching is you don't have to talk a lot. You ask a question and let the client talk. And as they talk, that helps them raise their awareness because they start listening to themselves. Plus, the coach kind of parrots it back a little bit to paraphrase. But again, you're just asking the right questions. That's where the skill comes in and the training comes in, is what questions to ask, when to ask them, when to back off, when to kind of push a little bit. Again, if you're asking way too many questions and talking too much, you're not coaching. You're starting to move into the mentor where you're telling the person what to do.
I see, that makes sense to me. And Leland says he has 3 coaches. They all know of each other, and that helps him stay in line, and always a bit of a crossover, which is good. And it feels more cohesive to them. And that makes sense to me. Like, if Steven's telling me, hey, Sean, when you're having a bad day, just shut the world out for a minute and go to your car and just relax. And then Leland's like, hey, if you're having a bad day, breathe, do your 5 breaths. Well, shit, you do those in the car and do that together. That's actually working together. So that makes good sense to me. So listen, I'm putting all the pieces together because I know what's next in my life is at some point in time I have to find a coach, because it's like, that's why, listen, this is my therapy session, if you didn't know that. You're in my once a week therapy session right now. And the more of my prior guests and friends that come on and ask questions, it's like everyone gets to be part of Sean's therapy. It's amazing.
Yeah, but you have a ton of coaches then.
Listen, I do. And all of them want to tell me something, they all want to let me know where I'm not doing it right now. I'm I'm kidding about that. So then,
But I'm sorry. I would agree
yeah,
with.
please, no, go ahead.
I would agree with Leland. My preference would be that there's cohesiveness and all the coaches are aware of one another and where they're supposed to focus. But ultimately, again, it comes down to the client. If they don't want to divulge that, that's up to them. The client is typically in control of what they want to do, what they're comfortable with. Again, as a coach, you can't say, we're going to do an exercise now. That is the wrong approach. Like I said, you always ask for permission. Can we try an exercise? And again, if they say no, then no. Real quick, when I was going through the training, there was 1 week of training that was horrible. It just was a bad week. I was in a class of 16 and there were only 2 males there. And unfortunately, it was diversity week, which was good, but they handled it very bad because I was the white male in the room.
You got your ass kicked that week.
I absolutely did, to the point where I almost didn't continue on with the coaching training. That's how bad it went. I could not say one word right. Everything was taken against me because, again, I was the white male and I understand the situation, but I just got blasted. The very last day, we're doing our coaching practice, and I felt bad for the female coach that was trying to coach me because I was like this in the chair, swiveling back and forth, and she's trying to ask me questions, and I'm just like, nope. And finally, she asked the right question. She said, "What do you want?" And I said, "What I want is to leave this place, go home to," and at that time I was still a pastor. I said, "Go home to my church family and home to my family, those people who love me and support me, because I haven't gotten that here all week, and I need that." And she's like, "Okay." And she kind of backed off, and she said, "What else do you want?" I said, "This session is done. I don't want to talk. I don't want to do anything. We are done." And she said, "Okay." And now the teachers told her she did. No, you should have. And I said, "No, she didn't. She listened to what I wanted as a client. She did the right thing." I said, because if she had pushed, I would have blasted everyone in this room and it wouldn't have gone very good. That's how heated I was. But again, when I came back the next week, everybody was happy. Everything was good. Everybody was like, that was a rough week for everybody. We're glad you came back. But again, that coach, she did the right thing. She asked me what I wanted. I told her, and then she backed off and said, "Okay, then we'll just end the session here." Yeah, I don't want to talk anymore. So again, you ask the client what they want. You try and guide them through it. You always ask for permission. You never force the client to do something they don't want to do.
Brother, that's a lot to unpack. That is like I'm looking at you, and for those of you that aren't watching the live video, go back and watch our live video because you can see Steven just relive that week in about 30 seconds of sitting there. Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure who Laura's probably your wife, I would imagine. Is your wife's name Laura?
That's my wife.
She gave you a big thumbs up. So real quick, folks, we're reaching that point of the New Scotland Spirits last call. This week, don't just drink whiskey, drink something that means something. New Scotland Spirits is handcrafted right here in upstate New York using locally grown grain, old school methods, and zero. I almost said very little. See, this is why you should read these things beforehand. And zero shortcuts. Every bottle is a bold statement, full of flavor, full of pride. So whether you're sipping solo or raising a glass with friends, make it count. Visit newscotlandspirits.com to find a bottle near you. New Scotland Spirits, built on heritage, bottled for today. Dude, so listen. You want a woosah moment? Like, cause you were like there. Like I felt every bit of that.
I'm good.
I have my own DEI stories when I applied for a job to be a DEI manager on the railroad. and they looked at me and were like, the white guy with the beard is our and blonde hair with the DEI guy? And I was like, yeah, the disabled veteran. And they're like, yeah, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm DEI. If you didn't realize that, they were like, uh, oh, the veterans are, yeah, yeah. You didn't realize that shit. Like
Yeah.
we fall under that category. So, but so what's folks, and again, we're talking with Stephen. We're talking about Axiom Coaching company he runs, trying to figure out when's the best time for people to go out and find a coach. If you got questions, you want to know some things about what he's got going on, drop them in the comments right now. As far as Axiom is concerned, now you mentioned consulting
Yes.
also. So what type of consulting are you guys doing?
So we do business consulting, mainly small to medium size, although I have a few very large clients that are literally across the country. They have, offices and stuff across the whole country. But I kind of focus on the small to medium. One, they're the bread and butter for the economy, and they're usually the bread and butter for the community. So I try and help them out, and we do pretty much everything operational, anywhere from the very strategic side, from strategic planning, organizational transformation, organizational change, implementing systems. We do a lot of quality systems, but other systems too. We help them implement, and then kind of then leaning down into the more what I would call tactical side, just helping them improve processes or improve areas over here. And even when I'm doing those types of things, especially the higher strategic initiatives, I'm still using the coaching background. So I'm still applying coaching techniques. I'm trying to get them to come up with answers that are, suited for their organization. Again, even though it's a consulting kind of project or contract, I try and guide them as opposed to just coming up with the answers until they finally say, look, we don't know what we're talking about. Just give us the answer. In that case, then I will give them the answer. And I've had that happen. They're like, enough of the coaching stuff. Just give us the answer because we're completely lost. But and then we also do workforce development. We do a lot of training. We do leadership training. We do high level, so executive leadership training, supervisor, mid manager type leadership training, and then anywhere in between, conflict resolution, um, change management, and then also training people to quality systems and quality standards and regulatory standards. So we do pretty much everything except accounting, because I don't even like doing accounting for my own business. So I'm not going to do it for someone else, and so we don't do that. And a lot of sales and marketing, we don't handle that. I have other partners that come in for that, and we touch on some HR if it's very kind of like high level HR stuff, like we need to do performance reviews. Well, I can help you set that up. The legalities and stuff, again, we back off. We have partners that can come in and know all of the legalities and government regulations and things for HR. So we're really heavily the whole span of operational functions for a business. And again, that could be a service provider, a manufacturer, retail, food manufacturers, food providers. We run the gamut.
Now I'm looking here on your site, and again, folks, if you think any of this makes sense to you, Axiom, axiomcoaching.org. What am I getting out of a 30-minute meeting? Let's see, you got 31 hour, 2 hour, 4 hours is called we're dating. You know that, right? Like we're having a 4 hour meeting. We're dating at that point.
So we'll back up. And so the 4 hours are typically for the clients that are virtual. So they want to book a 4 hour where we're actually doing work. We're working on the contract. We're either working on a strategic plan. We're doing some kind of work. That's what a 4 hour block is for. 1 hour, that's either a coaching session or it could be we just need to have a meeting on the project or something like that. A half an hour is typically for somebody who maybe just wants a half an hour coaching, because that's all the time they can afford during the day. It's not as effective as a full hour, but we can get stuff done in a half an hour. Absolutely. Yes. There you go.
That is me. I need you available at 7:30 in the morning for 30 minutes. And during that time, I will probably be eating cereal and drinking my cup of coffee, because that's
I would be doing the same. I'll be right there with you, drinking my tea and eating my breakfast with you, and we could have a nice conversation.
That's it.
But 30 is for either the short. This is the only time that I have for coaching, or someone who wants to just get some more information and have a short meeting and say, I'm interested, but I'm not sure what you do. So can we have a short meeting? And after that, it may be, okay, let's have an hour-long meeting to explore it further and discuss maybe, me hiring you or something like that. So hour is just there for people for short meetings.
Makes sense.
For podcasters, if they want to call, do that preliminary call, or
let's talk about that for a second. Steve.
Yeah.
So first off, Laura, if you have any funny stories you want to type in about Steve, let me know now.
No.
Now is your time. Now is your time. So I get that all the time. I want to talk, like, I'm putting a PSA out right now. I get people all the time. And even you were like, hey, we'll meet before the podcast. I don't meet anyone before the podcast. Do you know that? Did you realize that?
I didn't.
You know why?
Why?
Because I love being just as surprised as everybody else.
That's awesome.
I tell people all the time, they're like, so I'd like to have an hour meeting with you before the podcast. And I'm like, if I meet with you for an hour before the show, you're not coming on the show. And they're like, what? I'm like, I know everything about you now. Like, what else is there to know? Like, you're not interesting to me anymore. Now I get to find out stuff. Like this is interesting to me. Like, the fact that you were a pastor and a Southern Baptist at that, and you haven't once patted your brow down and been like, ooh, fire and brimstone. I'm a Methodist. We're like the Pepsi One of Catholic, all the same great flavor, just none of the guilt.
Yeah.
Like, we're real like, can we feed you? Well, we'll get a meeting together and create a committee and feed you. Southern Baptists are like, we're all going down, fire and brimstone. Like, that's the way I see it all. So, like, this is this to me is fascinating. This is why, like, I can't talk to anyone beforehand, before a show, because I find you absolutely fascinating right now, Stephen.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Sean.
Like, to me, this is just like, and you're a guy that probably the two of us would have walked past each other in a store and just went, he's got a good beard. Good beard too. A good coloring on that, and just kind of moved on and never thought nothing of it. So what are some of the things that you've got coming up? Things that are going on with Axiom? You writing any books? Got any speaking engagements? Anything coming up?
So speaking engagements, I don't have any coming up right away. Although I've got, again, those half-hour talks. I've got people that are meeting with me, and we're discussing potentially either speaking at their organization or something. I'm also working with my marketing director, who Christine.
Christine, who's been a guest on here, Christine Smith.
Yes, Christine Smith, who is a great marketing person. So if anybody, I'll put a plug in for her for Prism Strategies out of Albany, New York area, the capital area. Does a great job for marketing. She's helping me set up, and we're thinking of holding our own events. So we're planning those right now. Like I said, everything's kind of in the planning stage, unfortunately. So I don't have anything potentially coming up. But when we do, there'll be, I'm sure, plenty of stuff on our social media, on the website and everything to announce those events that will be coming up, and I'll be speaking at. There was one that was planned in October, and that organization canceled their whole event. So it was like, oh, okay.
Oh, so thanks.
Yeah, but we'll fill it with something else. Like I said, I've got other people that are interested, and we're also thinking of holding our own. And there's also a couple of coaches and consultants locally that we've been talking of. We should have our own type of event here in Buffalo where we have.
Is it snowing there yet?
Pardon?
Is it snowing there yet?
No, it rained today, but it's not snowing yet. We
Any
still
day
have
now.
a good maybe month before the snow.
Like a week or two, like a couple days.
Yeah.
It snows. The worst part about snow in Buffalo, folks, not to make a left turn here, is it only snows in Buffalo. You get past Buffalo train station and get on into Niagara Falls, and there's no snow. Come back into Buffalo, and then there's 40 feet of snow. Get on the other side of it, and there's nothing again.
We're in the snow band. I live in the South towns in the snow band, so we get plenty of snow.
Which town are you in?
Orchard. We're on the border of Orchard Park and West Seneca. We're like 5 miles away from the stadium.
I used to work for Amtrak, so I used to run that line and be like, fucking snow everywhere.
Snow everywhere.
Any goals for like maybe a TED Talk or anything?
There's somebody who reached out to me on LinkedIn who wants to talk to me about doing I think a TEDx talk.
TEDx. Yeah, that's the new thing. Is like you have to do a TEDx, and then they look and see what the response to your TEDx was, and then they put a group of people together to do an actual TED Talk.
Yes.
Instead of like the old days where it was just like we do TED Talks.
Yes.
Now it's like we do TEDx, which are like minor league talks, and we see how well you do it until
before you can get to the majors.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like Ted has gotten it too big for his own britches. I will tell you though that if you look at the way we title podcasts, where it's like when is it time to coach, and then your name, I stole that from TED Talks because that's the way they do it. They give the title and then the person's name, which makes it way more searchable. Because if you're searching that topic or you're searching that person's name, both of them would come up.
Yes, I appreciate that.
You're
smart.
Yeah, listen.
Why reinvent the wheel, right?
Dude, I talked to a guy a long time ago, and he was like, "Yeah, look, man, stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Like, go with really, really simple stuff and go from there." I'm like, makes perfect sense to me. Well, look, folks. Well, let's do this. So Nate's not on. I don't know where he's hiding at. He's probably seeing how many kickers he can pick in the first round of our fantasy football draft that's coming up. But Nate, he hates it when I say, dude, you have no idea. Like, he sends me the most angry text messages afterwards. And like, he's like, I don't do that. Shut up. I hate it. I'm like, Nate, you took 12 kickers in the first 4 rounds of the draft. He's like, I did not. I'm like, dude, I just said 12 players in 4 rounds. How the hell would that be possible? He gets so mad at me. But real quick, but he has always asked this question, so it's one of my favorites. After a big win, maybe you coach somebody into a very successful situation, anything like that, and you are up there. So maybe I should have asked it in the way if it's Anchor or Duff's. But what is your go-to after a successful coaching session meal?
Wow, that's a really good question. For me, if I were to be honest, to celebrate, and my wife can confirm this, it'd be between 2 things. If I'm tired and I'm worn out and everything, pizza. I could eat pizza 3 meals a day, 7 days a week. Never get tired of it. But if it's a true celebration, it's going to be bourbon on the rocks, New York strip, a salad, and a baked potato.
What kind of dressing?
Thousand Island, because I'm unfortunately Italian, allergic to garlic. I know that's weird.
I always tell people it's Sean Patrick Murphy, but my grandmother is Dartia Maranto, and great grandmother was Rose Valenciano. Nice. And I grow my own garlic. Forget that. Like, dude, I grow my own. Like, so you can't even eat onions then, can you? Most people that are allergic to garlic can't eat onions.
I don't have the reaction, but it does bother me. So onions are out also.
Yes. Yeah, like that. That's how you can really tell when people are like, I'm allergic to garlic. You're like, yeah, but you're eating 4 onions right now, so you're full suit. Yeah, real. Wow, that's a completely left turn we just made there, folks. Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. But that would be my celebration meal, is a good New York strip and some bourbon and salad and a baked potato. There you go. Oh yes, that's a good selection. Very
And
good.
this is a barrel select,
Yes.
Elijah Craig. So a friend of mine from an organization I belong to, she owns a liquor store, and they've got 4 barrel pours right now. Elijah Craig, 1792, Whistle Pig, and God, what's the other one? I think I have it. Yeah, Whistle Pig and another one. Like they have like 4 different ones, and I'm like, I want the 1792 because I've just never had 1792, and everybody's like, that's an amazing pour. So it's on
That
my
is
list.
that is. Angel's Envy is a good one too. If you've ever had that.
It's
Um,
it's under here somewhere. I have a bottle of Angel's Envy under the bar here somewhere. Well,
I
from
know
out
I'll email you a couple other ones that are some
here's one from
just
out your. I believe it's out your way.
what's that?
Button. It's
Yes,
Black Button.
I have not tried theirs, but yes, they're out this way.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And New Scotland's right here in the capital region.
I'm going to try that. Once I heard your advertisement for them, I'm going to try them.
Yeah, I can find my bottle. There you go.
Nice. Yes.
And what they do is they make an actual Empire rye. Have you seen that before?
No.
So that's a thing where people talk about Kentucky bourbons.
Yes.
I know we're a little bit over time. Hopefully, you got a couple minutes, but people
Yeah.
talk about Kentucky bourbons, and it's got like all the rules to be considered as a Kentucky bourbon. Well, New York has Empire Rye because rye is a New York grain,
Sure.
so they actually have an entire laid out like for this to be considered as a Empire Rye, a real what we would consider as for us is going to be a real rye. It has to meet these requirements, and it'll have a sticker on it that says Empire Rye.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
yeah,
I will have to try it.
yeah, it's absolutely amazing, amazing, amazing stuff. Well, look, folks, again, make sure you're going and giving Stephen like, shares, follows, all those things, checking out his website. If you're first time finding us through him or him through us, make sure you're giving us a like, share, follow. I know it sounds cliche, like all your kids' videos and all that, but trust me, it really does work. It really does make a difference in our lives. So regardless of where you found us at, make sure you're doing all those things. Next week, we have on Miss Jackie Dionist. I'm probably pronouncing her last name wrong. I butcher last names, bro. I don't mean it. I don't. It's funny, like if you hear me and my wife talk, she butchers like words, like adds in letters and removes letters like all the time. I'm like, what the hell are you saying? But then somebody's like, gives me a last name, and I'm like, Smithai? They're like Smith. I'm like, shit, I don't know. I just can't do it. It's just something about last names. But Jackie is a published artist. She's done 6 books. They're out on Hulu and Amazon. She's got a 7th book coming out about her grandparents' romance during the Second World War. Uh, her grand uh, her grandfather was in the Navy. Was part of some of the final runs in Japan on the USS Daytona, known as the Dauntless D, and actually worked for General Halsey himself. That was the same group, the Missouri flagship in the Third Fleet. They had a big romance, so it ended up when it was all said and done. She's got like her own kids. She raised single mom, raised 3 kids, wrote these books. She's a photographer. So we're just going to be talking about, how she got to this. She interviewed 100 different sailors at the USS Dayton reunion just to get their stories and all these different things. So we're going to be talking about that next week. Again, folks, if you're just finding us, just joining us every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're on every platform that you could imagine to find us. So make sure you give them that like, share, and follow all those things. Now, Stephen, I think this is episode 297 or 298. So I know you have indulged yourself fully in all of it. Like you've just listened to everything. You're fully immersed. But just in case you've forgotten any of the elements here, I'm just going to remind you, and don't log off afterwards. I always feel like I need to say that. Don't ask me why. Only because I had a couple guests that logged off right afterwards when I'm like, hey, I need to talk to you. It's the dude that drives me absolutely bonkers. I'm like, hey, I just want to talk like for 2 minutes. Like if they log off right as soon as I'm done, I'm like, fuck, you hated this, didn't you? Like, this was not fun for you. I had a good time. And they're like, click. I'm like, oh, Damn, my bad. So don't log off on me afterwards, please.
No problem.
But the guest always gets the final word. So what's our final word tonight, Stephen?
I would say that final word is, if you're thinking of coaching or thinking of getting a coach, or really don't think you need a coach, have a self conversation with yourself. Just look that inner dialogue and say, am I stuck? Am I moving forward? And if the answer is I'm stuck, then seek the help of a coach. Just even if it's just most coaches will sit down for the first hour just to have an exploratory discussion, not even charge you, just to see if the relationship is working and there's a good connection. So just try it and see if it will help you. And again, don't be afraid of it. And again, it will help you get unstuck. So just, if you want to be a good leader, you need those relationships I talked about. And one of them is a coach to help you get unstuck and help raise your awareness. As Leland said, coaches have coaches. We believe in our own stuff. So we have coaches. So I recommend it highly. And I think you'll find a lot of value out of it.
All righty, folks. Be sure to push your stool in. This has been a Second Front podcast presentation found on Apple, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found.